All right, you are still watching Ways. Now, this year we celebrate the first annual Kobe Bryant Day on August 24th. Kobe Bryant was more than a basketball player to many aspiring athletes and children growing up in Los Angeles and around the world. He was an inspiration and a cultural icon. And on this day, his numbers meet 8 and 24. We celebrate the life and talent of Kobe Bryant and that of his daughter, Gianna, whose promising lives were cut short at a helicopter crash, that happened.
That was my topic yesterday.
That was your story yesterday. So, happy International Kobe Bryant Day. Yeah. That loss was painful, though.
It was. And the girl was,
I think, it's already 1 year.
It's 2 years since it's gone.
I think
maybe it's his birthday and they're making an
anniversary.
Yes.
2 years. 2 years,
2 years since it's gone.
How time flies.
I tell people that I'm not afraid of death. God forgive me, may my days be long. But I hate dying terribly. In a fire, drowning.
Just let me sleep.
Sleep and they say,
with my children around yesterday. Me. Yes.
That's an old age.
Yes, even if it's not old age, Jesus at 33.
At least like you bless your children, you call your grandchildren. Jesus' mission was clear on earth.
Yeah, so he did it and he went. Yeah. So yours might be longer. So
I pray it's
you want to live long and live well. And die peacefully.
That was a painful death. A lot of people cried.
Especially since the child went as well.
I mean, I just want people to remember what he stood for. Like, I mean, it was when he died, I now knew that he was really more than a basketball player.
All the testimonials.
All different people in the movie industry, in different fields. They were just coming and saying their own stories of how he impacted.
I found them a bit hypocritical because you remember the time he was caught cheating. And they were kind of like chastising him everywhere. Every single comedian had a joke to tell about, when you get rich, you get your white woman, and blah, blah, blah. And then he died and everybody started.
But that's the rest of the world will always do what they will do. But he still had people who looked up to him and respected him for what he stood for.
Yep.
All right, so ladies, quickly, what did we find in the news?
A high court sitting in Ibadan, Oyo State, has sentenced an official of the National Association of Nigerian Students, called NANS, Federal University Oyekiti, to 1 year imprisonment over 195 million internet fraud. The convict, identified as Adeyemi Israel Abiodun, is a 200-level student of Economics and Development Studies at the Federal University Oyekiti in Ekiti State. He was arrested by the EFCC on March the 30th, 2022, alongside 79 others in a sting operation at Zongo area of Ibadan for alleged internet fraud. They say youths are useless. This one, under the guise of still being in school, is Bugayin, still doing 419, and is still a member of NANS. Even got so bold as to buying a Mercedes. I'm sure his parents can't afford such. And personalize the plate number. The boldness of these children.
But you see, let me tell you something about this internet fraud, right? If you go on social media, I mean, it's very difficult for you to separate fraud from a lot of people. It's really, really, what's it called? It's really sad how it has become such a norm. That, I mean, you see people telling you that they would rather date a Yahoo boy than they will date
affected person.
No, than date somebody that has a 9-to-5, right? They would rather date a Yahoo boy and all of that. And you see the reasons they give. So, I mean, so most times when I hear stories like this, I just say, come, until our leaders get it right. I mean, it was what year was it, Norma, when we went for a school tour for OSFI? My foundation, when we went to that, we went to, what's the word now? What's the word? Agege, one of the schools in Agege. Remember, very many years ago, this young boy, he was in SS2, and his fear was that they were being recruited.
Absolutely,
from the school. So he was afraid of graduating. He said because
he was already being asked to join
Yahoo.
So you know what struck me, what he said? He said, when your parents tell you that, go to school so that you become rich.
And school is where
You
the
understand?
breeding ground is.
No, go to school so that you become rich. He said, so the Yahoo boys are giving them better offer. You don't need to go to school and suffer your brain to go and be, what's it called?
They've sorted you out.
Just to get
Not
rich.
to get rich. So that's why I said even parents need to change that narrative. You're not going to school because you want to get rich, you want to get
find your
independent.
purpose.
Yes,
and do
there's
this
a
in the
lot
meantime.
more that an education can give you other than just riches. So even with parenting, you must be very deliberate about the words you choose, because guess what? These guys that are recruiting these fraudsters from very young age in secondary schools, they are giving them better options. They're giving them better offers. So when you come to give them,
as far as the parents
whatever,
are concerned,
they
get rich is
counter
what they
that.
said.
Yes, they
Family
counter
support
that. So
is
it's very important.
important.
All right, so Norma, your story.
Yeah, okay, my story has to do with some good news.
Amen.
So US is set to return $23 million looted by late dictator Abacha to Nigeria. All right, so the story on CNN has it that the United States will turn over to Nigeria $23 million taken by the former military ruler Sani Abacha, and this agreement was to be signed on Tuesday, which is today. So the stolen cash, until his death, in 1998, there was the seizure of the stolen cash, and he took up to 5 billion of public funds to be able to do that. So the US ambassador Mary Beth Leonard had said that this cash was in the UK accounts, but was identified and frozen by the United States officials. And the latest deal is that they were going to repatriate more than $334.7 million. I mean, when you hear,
but they've sent some back before.
They've sent some back, even
we
though
we're
hoping, and that's where I want to just pitch my tent on that. This monies, because the officials, the Nigerian officials say that these monies are going to go into being able to build infrastructure.
It's not even build. Let me tell them what to do.
I'm
never been more happy to
and all of that.
They should first create a fixed account. Let us see
Nigeria.
there.
Let us. I'm trusting even with the new wave, the democracy and all of those things, that when the new government comes in, that
Therefore,
have
don't
some
share
level of
and finish
transparency.
before government
I'm
comes in.
believing.
No matter.
So I've
never been happy to hear
Nigeria.
that somebody stole money, because now if this money comes back,
Yeah,
multiply that by the current exchange
by the
rate.
current exchange.
Listen, we are only 200 million, right? So they just give everybody 5 million there or 10 million
As
there.
compensation.
Just because we really cannot trace what they will use this money
That's
for.
a social welfare
That's
fund
social
for
welfare.
the country. It's not today that they've been collecting money
Let's
back.
hope that the government is going to put it to good use.
Let me quickly take my story because we have to run. So the Minister for Health, Dr. Osagie Ihanire, had decried the high dependency on importation of health goods in African region. He was saying this at the 72nd session of the World Health Organization Regional Committee for Africa that was taking place in Lomé, Togo, right? He said that there was a need to increase manufacturing capacity in Africa. So this was a statement that he gave out through his the director of head of media and publicity at Ahmadu Chindaya, right? He said that the journey so far has not been easy for the sub-region due to high dependency on imported goods. That the journey, and he said manufacturers will spend soaring prices and shortages of goods where Africa was at the bottom of the priority list for commodities and vaccines. Now, Africa must increase regional manufacturing capacity of essential health items, he said, and he further stated that Nigeria was among the countries still recovering from the social economic impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. All right, so I just want to quickly say that this is not unique to the healthcare sector. Every sector in Africa, most African countries are actually dependent on, other regions for a lot of things. So I like the conversation that you're bringing it to the fore, but I want it to go a step further. When you see people that are willing to start to go into the manufacturing business, you see, instead of giving all these big men waivers, those are the people that need it. We are farmers, for instance. We own equipment and all of that. Imagine if the government said to us that,
let's help
you know what,
establish.
let us bring in world-class equipment, you understand, to be able to fully automate your process, your system, and you are not paying any duty on all. You think we will not, we will just go and sleep there in the farm. So I'm just saying to you that there is a lot that can happen in the manufacturing sector beyond talk, right? We need to start seeing policies that encourages even the most little person in manufacturing to say, you know what, I think this is the way to go.
So imagine
That is
if
the
they
only
brought
way.
the funds from Abacha and they actually got people that had the expertise to teach us how to use it to help the industries. How far we would go.
Manufacturing is
There's a lot
something
that
that
can be done.
is,
Enough.
yes, manufacturing is dependent on a lot of things. So as it is now, we know how much we're consuming on diesel consumption alone. So just imagine if there was a solution, and there are other, I mean, you go to other countries,
Storage, transportation,
go to other countries that are into
logistics.
big time palm plantations and all of that. You will see that a lot of them are moving. I have a friend of mine. He has his farmland in Benin. He was telling me now they are moving, I think, to turbine, or was it wind? Yeah. So they are even moving to
source of
yes,
energy.
to other sources of energy that are, yes, the initial investment might be heavy, but in the long run, you know, it is way cheaper and it's cleaner energy and all of that.
Yes.
But he's doing all of those things because he has some level of backing and funding from an international body. So I need the government to be really serious about
They know these
manufacturing.
things, they've been told, they travel, they hear it.
So it's not
but
just
they just
about-
refuse to practice.
Absolutely. So let's take a break. We want to discuss mental health for men, and we'll have our guest with us. Stay with us.